Modern aircraft represent a remarkable feat of engineering and technological progress. Commercial aviation has revolutionized travel and connected people from all corners of the world. However, despite the incredible advancements in satellite and radar systems, it is still shocking to hear of planes that have vanished without a trace. These incidents continue to baffle investigators and aviation experts alike. With the increasing safety measures and advanced technology, it seems almost impossible for aircraft to simply disappear. Yet, there have been recent incidents that have mystified the world, leaving us with only a range of theories and speculations. In this video, we will take a closer look at some of the most heart-wrenching and unexplained aircraft disappearances that have captivated people's attention and imagination. Get ready to be taken on an emotional roller coaster as we delve into the unsolved mysteries of aviation history. It was supposed to be a routine flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, but on March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 vanished into thin air with 239 passengers and crew members on board. It was a tragedy that shocked the world and left the families and friends of those on board devastated. The search for MH370 was a race against time, but it was also a race against hope. For weeks, search teams scoured the southern Indian Ocean, hoping to find any trace of the missing plane. But as the days turned into weeks and the weeks turned into months, hope began to fade. Despite one of the largest and most expensive search operations in aviation history, no debris or wreckage from the plane was ever found. The lack of answers surrounding the disappearance of MH370 has led to a roller coaster of emotions for those involved. Families and friends of the passengers and crew members were left in limbo, unsure of what had happened to their loved ones. The investigation revealed into the disappearance that several communication systems on the plane had been disabled, including the transponder and the Aircraft Communications Addressing and Reporting System, ACARS. This made it more difficult to locate the plane and determine its whereabouts. Theories about what happened to the plane have ranged from hijacking to terrorism to government cover-ups. However, there is no concrete evidence to support any of these theories, and the lack of answers has only added to the drama and mystery of the incident. The fact that the black box of the plane, which contains valuable flight data and cockpit voice recordings, has never been found only adds to the sadness and frustration. The cost of the search for MH370 is estimated to have exceeded $150 million, but the emotional toll on the families and friends of those on board cannot be measured in dollars. It's a loss that can never be fully comprehended, and one that will be felt for years to come. Despite the heartbreak and tragedy surrounding the disappearance of MH370, some good has come out of it. The aviation industry has implemented new satellite tracking technology and stricter guidelines for flight communications and monitoring. These changes are designed to prevent a similar incident from happening in the future. The disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 is a tragedy that will never be forgotten. The lack of answers has left many questions unanswered and has affected the families and friends of those on the board deeply. The hope remains that one day the truth behind the disappearance of the flight will come to light. Until then, the aviation industry will continue to strive for improved safety measures to prevent a similar incident from happening again. The year was 1937, and Amelia Earhart, a renowned aviator, was on a mission to make history. She had set out to circumnavigate the globe in her Lockheed Electra 10E, a feat that no woman had ever accomplished before. But what started as a daring adventure quickly turned into a tragedy that would leave the world in shock and despair. As Earhart and her navigator Fred Noonan soared over the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, something went terribly wrong. The plane vanished without a trace, leaving behind only unanswered questions and a world filled with heartache. The news of Earhart's disappearance spread like wildfire, and people from all over the world were left stunned and saddened by the loss of one of aviation's greatest icons. The search for Earhart and Noonan was a massive undertaking, with dozens of planes and ships scouring the ocean for any sign of the missing aviators. But despite the tireless efforts of the search parties, no trace of the plane or its occupants was ever found. The search was called off after 16 days, but the mystery of Earhart's disappearance continued to haunt the world. As the years passed, numerous theories emerged about what had happened to Earhart and Noonan. Some suggested that they had crashed into the ocean and perished, while others believed they may have landed on a deserted island. But no theory could fully explain the mystery of their disappearance, leaving the world to wonder and mourn the loss of two of aviation's brightest stars. Despite the lack of answers, the legacy of Amelia Earhart lives on. She was a trailblazer for women in aviation and a symbol of courage and determination for people around the world. Her disappearance was a tragedy that shook the world to its core, but it also served as a reminder of the risks that come with pushing the boundaries of what is possible. In the end, the disappearance of Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan remains one of the greatest mysteries of all time. It is a story of adventure and tragedy, of hope and despair, and of a legacy that continues to inspire generations. The world may never know the full truth of what happened on that fateful day in 1937, but the memory of Amelia Earhart will always soar high above the clouds. It was supposed to be a routine military chartered flight, but on March 16, 1962, Flying Tiger Line Flight 739 vanished into thin air. The plane was carrying 107 passengers and crew members, mostly U.S. soldiers returning home from the Vietnam War, when it disappeared while flying over the vast expanse of the western Pacific Ocean. The news of the missing plane spread like wildfire, and families of the passengers and crew members were left reeling with shock and heartache. The search for the missing plane was a massive undertaking, involving multiple countries and covering over 200,000 square miles of ocean. Despite the tireless efforts of the search parties, no wreckage or debris was ever found. The disappearance of Flying Tiger Line Flight 739 sent shockwaves through the aviation industry, leaving experts and investigators puzzled and baffled by the circumstances surrounding the loss of the plane. There were no distress calls, no reports of any issues with the aircraft, and the weather conditions were favorable. As days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months, the families of the missing passengers and crew members were left with more questions than answers. Theories began to emerge, ranging from mechanical failure to pilot error to sabotage. Some even suggested that the plane may have been hijacked and taken to a remote location. But despite these theories, the fate of Flying Tiger Line Flight 739 remains a mystery to this day, leaving behind only unanswered questions and shattered dreams. The loss of 107 lives on that fateful day is a tragedy that still haunts the world, serving as a reminder of the risks and dangers that come with air travel. On a warm June evening in 2009, Air France Flight 447 was soaring through the skies, carrying 228 souls from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil to Paris, France. The flight was uneven until it encountered a thunderstorm over the Atlantic Ocean. Suddenly, everything changed. The passengers and crew aboard the Airbus A330 were jolted awake as the aircraft was slammed by powerful turbulence. The pilots struggled to keep the plane under control as it ascended and descended erratically. In a matter of minutes, the situation escalated into a full-blown crisis. The flight data recorder would later reveal the heartbreaking final moments of Flight 447. The aircraft had stalled and began to plummet towards the ocean. The pilots fought valiantly to recover the aircraft, but it was too late. The plane crashed into the water at high speed, killing everyone on board. The aftermath of the tragedy was devastating. Families and friends of the victims were left in shock and disbelief, trying to come to terms with the sudden loss of their loved ones. The search and recovery efforts were arduous, spanning over 2 years before the wreckage was finally found. The investigation uncovered numerous issues that contributed to the tragedy, including faulty equipment and inadequate pilot training. The aviation industry was forced to take a hard look at their safety protocols and make necessary changes to prevent similar incidents from happening in the future. The disappearance of British South American Airways Flight 200 was one of the most mysterious and tragic events in aviation history. On that fateful day in 1947, 11 passengers and crew members boarded the Avro Lancastrian aircraft with hopes of reaching their destination in Santiago. But little did they know, their journey would end in a tragedy that would haunt the world for decades. The plane vanished without a trace, leaving the families of the passengers and crew members devastated and heartbroken. Search and rescue teams scoured the area, but their efforts were in vain. The plane and its occupants had simply vanished into thin air, leaving behind no clues or answers. For years, the mystery of the missing plane consumed the world, with theories and speculations running wild. Some believed it had been hijacked or crashed into the ocean, while others thought it might have been abducted by aliens. But nobody could have predicted the truth. Over 50 years later, a group of hikers stumbled upon the wreckage of the plane in the Andes Mountains. The discovery was a shock to the world, as it revealed a heartbreaking tale of survival and tragedy. The passengers and crew members had crashed into the mountains, killing most of them instantly. The survivors were left to endure the harsh conditions of the Andes with no food, water, or shelter. The story of their survival is a testament to the strength and resilience of the human spirit. They faced unimaginable challenges, from freezing temperatures to avalanches, and even resorted to cannibalism to stay alive. The world was stunned and saddened by their ordeal, and their story became the basis for the best-selling book and later movie, Alive. The legacy of those who lost their lives on that fateful day will never be forgotten. Their families received some closure after years of uncertainty, but their grief and pain will never fully heal.